Hi, I'm Michelle Sterling for Friends of Science Society. Have you heard of Bill C-69? It's what Premier Jason Kenney calls the No More Pipelines Bill. And why is that? Well, it's like this. The National Energy Board is Canada's review and approval organization for critical infrastructure. That means things like power lines for utilities, oil and gas pipelines, nuclear power plants, things that make our economy tick, and things that require an extremely high level of technical due diligence in terms of safety. Eco-Justice and many other tar sands campaign ENGOs went on a campaign to demand reform of the NEB, claiming it was outmoded and ineffective, even though it had been in operation for some 60 years with almost nary a whisper. But whereas the NEB was highly regarded worldwide by investors and infrastructure developers as an organization with clear, fair rules and requirements for projects deemed to be in the national interest, the new Bill C-69 is a murky water where no one dares to swim. So I heard this analogy that makes things simple. If you want to be a professional engineer, a university shows you the various courses you have to take, the ethical and code of conduct requirements for students, the marks you must achieve, the time frame for completion, and the cost of study. If you successfully complete all the requirements within those parameters and pay the fee, then you'll be granted an engineering degree. That's what the NEB used to be like for infrastructure developers, a clear framework for completion and fair evaluation. But Bill C-69 is murky. Imagine the university example again. You want to be a professional engineer, but the university won't tell you what courses you have to take, and is free to add more at any time. People from other departments, unrelated to engineering, might get to evaluate your submissions. The university won't tell you the time frame or the marks you have to achieve, and they won't tell you what it will cost. They might be able to stop you in the middle of study and send your work to someone else to look at. And furthermore, the people who grant your certificate are not professional engineers and may have no expertise in any related field. Would you go to that university? And what kind of engineer would you be? Would your structures be built to be safe and high performance, or maybe pretty but not functional? Well, that's a brief description of the problem with Bill C-69. But there's an even bigger one that was brought up by Martha Hall Findlay, and that's the loss of jurisprudence if the NEB is abolished or moved out of the critical infrastructure process. For the past 60 years, various projects under review by the NEB have faced court challenges for various reasons. Sometimes they were technical, sometimes socioeconomic, some might have been related to land use or treaty rights. Whatever the case, there's a large body of legal decisions, case law, that directs present and future legal challenges. By shelving the NEB and approving Bill C-69, all that case law becomes irrelevant, meaning all processes start from scratch in terms of legal challenges. Martha Hall Findlay said there are holes big enough to drive a truck through in Bill C-69 legislation. And she said there would be legal challenges from almost every angle, meaning projects like pipelines, transmission lines, power plants, they would be hung up in court for decades. That means no investor would be interested in tiptoeing through Canada's murky waters of Bill C-69. It strikes me as odd that Minister McKenna, a lawyer herself, and Eco-Justice, a whole bevy of lawyers, wouldn't have thought of that downside. And what of the fact that the people doing the approvals under Bill C-69 would not be required to have expertise in that discipline? Do you really want Minister McKenna approving nuclear power plants when she didn't even know what's a COP prior to signing Canada onto the Paris Agreement? Wouldn't this wishy-washy legislation allow for subjective approvals of projects that might not be in the national interest, but might be of interest to certain, well, cronies? At the University of Calgary Law Forum on Bill C-69, I was shocked to hear panelist and lawyer Terry Lee Oleniak tell the audience that she has major institutional investors asking her firm about what to invest in, But thanks to Bill C-69 being in limbo, and thanks to its uncertainties, all major projects are on hold. That's the economy of Canada, people, in limbo. Thanks to the tar sands campaign, ENGOs, and their grand plan for NEB modernization. In truth, there were elements of the NEB that needed tweaking, but as Martha Hall Findlay and Terry Lee Oliniak both have said, as have other commentators, keep the NEB, keep its 60 years of jurisprudence, wisdom, and technical expertise. Keep the NEB and just tweak it. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't push Canada off the economic cliff into crisis. Clearly, the minister's innocent and perhaps well-meaning signing on to Paris has serious implications for Canada as a nation and as a global competitor. The mess has its roots. This mess has its roots in the tar sands campaign, which is not about climate change or climate science. It's a green trade war against Canada, and it's time we stood up and stopped it. For Friends of Science Society, I'm Michelle Sterling.